So I'm here going to explain to you about the importance of scheduling. Uh, Self-scheduling is a must-have for your self-leadership skills. Why so? Well, if you don't have a schedule, you can really lead your own life. This schedule will help you lead a better life and make the most efficient of your time. So you know what to do at what certain time and set your goal and do the schedule that you have made. And of course, this will make you feel more accomplished than just randomly doing stuff and everything. It's pretty random if you don't use schedule. So I'm really suggesting that the schedule is pretty important to have and you need to make it on your life. So let's take an example of what is really is a scheduling. So scheduling is actually an art of planning your activities so that you can achieve your goals and prioritize in the time you have available. If you do this correctly, you can. What it gives you is that you can understand what you can realistically achieve within your time. Like I only have a week of time. Can I make a game like that? Can I make a game that so impressive or just your average game like Flappy Bird? You need to understand what how many time you have and you're set in stone what you want to do around that time. So it will realistically make you think that we really don't have much time for making a great game or a really big one. And then what you have with schedule that you have to make sure you have enough time for essential tasks. Essential tasks mean here is that just like your regular time, what you want to do with your life, how do you plan your life out, and what really you need to do, like when do you want to eat, when do you want to continue your work, and everything that you want to do with the schedule. You can just like, oh, I want to eat at certain time and I want to complete my work before Wednesday, for example. And then avoid taking more than you can handle. So what I'm going to say this is that avoid taking more is like when you're in a job, you think you can only handle one of the project. You better take the one project only. Don't take any more than you can chew. So it is really important to know that what you want to do and make that as a schedule so you know when will you achieve this and it's not too many that you can't handle it. And if scheduling you have been done effectively, you can also work steadily towards your personal and career goals. It's pretty easy after you set a stone. Let's say I've said before, making a game, etc. It will easily, you can just uh, see your progress on the game. Like for the day one, I want to make a sound, the background music, and everything about the background. And on the second day, I'm going to make the character, draw the character, doing it learn of the movement, but make sure you schedule that properly so that you know what you have achieved step by step. And lastly, you will have a good work-life balance. You don't have to like rush every work you have in one day. You don't have to do that. If you have schedule, you can just like spend 3 hours of your daily activities into working. So you only need 3 hours to do the work, and the other you can just spend it as you like. Yeah, like you can exercise and editing or any anything at all. But that's why you need a schedule. If you have a schedule, everything is planned perfectly as you want to. But every schedule always have something like unexpected happening. So to minimize this, you need to have some leeway of your schedule. So you have like um, we on a schedule you have to have a time to deal with this unexpected stuff. So what I'm going to say is that on with this schedule, you can understand what you can achieve with your time realistically. Make sure you have enough time for essential tasks, um, taking care of the unexpected, and avoiding more things than you can handle. And you can also step by step um, checking your progress.
I will explain about self-care. What is the self-care? The definition of self-care. Self-care is a broad term and just about anything you to do be a good to yourself. In a nutshell, it's about being as kind to yourself as you would to be others. It's partly about knowing when your resources are running low and stepping back to replenish them rather than letting them all drain away. Meanwhile, it also involves integrating self-compassion into your life in a way that helps to prevent even the possibility of a burnout. Um, However, it's important to note that not everything that feels good is self-care. We can all be tempted to use unhealthy coping mechanisms like drugs, alcohol, overeating, and risk-taking. Destructive help us about regulate challenging emotion, but relieve temporary. Types of self-care. One of the main excuse people make for ignoring articles about self-care is that they just don't have time. The great news is that there are many different self-care practices, and none of them especially difficult require a lot of planning. The tricks is to find some that you genuinely enjoy that fit with your life and value. Once you start adding emotional self-care into your life, you are likely to become fiercely protective of of that time and wonder how you even managed without it. Here are the five main categories of self-care along with explanation of how they you help you. Number one, sensory. Uh, Sensory self-care is all about helping to calm your mind. When you are able to tune into the details of the sensational the sensation the sensation all around you, it's easier to live in the present moment. And when you are in the present, you can more effectively let go of some relates to part of anxieties about the future. Number two, emotional. When it comes to your emotional health, one of the best self-care tips is to make surely you fully and self-care tips it's to make surely you fully engage with your emotion when you face them head on. This actually helps with stress. Number three, spiritual. Spiritual self-care is about getting in touch with your value and what you really matters to you. Self-care tips for depression, often stress that you're developing a sense of purpose is vital to your recovery. Below are some versatile examples that can help you with this. Number four, physical. The importance of self-care definitely extends to purely physical aspect of your health. Physical activity is a vital not only for your body well-being but also for helping you let off steam. You might think there's nothing fun or self-compensable about going to the gym, but that far too narrow a way thinking about physical self-care. Instead, broaden the concept by thinking about the following list. Physical care ideas. Number five is social. Finally, social self-care is another category that's important for us. For us, it might look different depending on whether you are introvert or extrovert. However, connecting with other people in necessary of happiness for a large diversity of people. It helps you to understand that you are not alone. Plus, it can also give us a sense of being fully seen by others. This can, in particular, help us combat loneliness and isolation. Self-care isn't about just doing things with others for the sake of it, but about choosing to do with people who really make you feel good. Thank you.
Okay, so self-improvement. As a software developer, it is crucial to improve our skill to match this fast-developing technology. In fact, it is so fast that we can expect this new technology come in every once in a new month. So how do we exactly improve our skill? Do we just learn all of this new technology? Well, it's great to have so many options, but is it necessary to take and shove all of those options into our mind? By other word, is it necessary to learn all of the technology? Well, let's take a look at the word improvement itself. Improve means going up. That also means we should keep track of our skill. If we imagine, it is easier to track a small amount of item rather than a bunch. So, if it's sustainable in the long term, it is making us be overwhelmed by, ironically, whatever we are doing. So, how do we figure out what to learn or improve then? Well, this is a simple question with no easy answer actually. You need to think about what is the most thing that will be most sustainable thing for you, and what will you enjoy the most when doing whatever that thing is. Is it game development? Is it mobile development? Or any other technologies? Because in order to be really good at something, you have to do it over and over again and really understanding and going deeper to the technology. And it's really important to stick to the technology and maybe build a project along with your friend on college. Okay, so when do we take a look at something new then? Of course, it is a good thing that we would like to learn everything that the technology offers. It means that we are ambitious about this developing technology. But remember, this is all about improving our skill in general. So it means that when you're learning a thing A and you want to learn a thing B, you don't forget about the thing A that you've just learned. Instead, you keep the thing A and you add the new thing B in order to make an improvement for yourself. And it's also great to know our technology that we might want to learn first. So, of course, we want to learn these technologies to make a living, so we better check that out. So how do we check that out? Well, we take a real world example by ourselves in our daily living activity and not someone else. So for example, that the technology A is really popular in country A, but it's not as popular in our country. So in summary, we should not learn technology by how easy it is to develop, but we also need to think about its benefit for us to make a living. And like us, the technology should also be sustainable. There are some that really go up the sky at some point, and it's not really as popular now.